Coming up on 5 Minute News. 40 members of Boris Johnson's government resign. US Senator Graham refuses to comply with subpoena. And Russia warns all of humanity of nuclear warfare. It's Thursday, July 7. I'm Anthony Davis. Autocratic British Prime Minister Boris Johnson defied pressure to quit on Wednesday from senior ministers and a mounting rebellion within his ruling Conservative Party, saying he will fight off any attempts to oust him over a series of scandals. After more than 40 resignations in a single day from within the government, and with many Conservative lawmakers in open revolt, some cabinet ministers went to Downing Street to tell Boris Johnson he needed to go. One encouraged him to make a dignified exit by setting his own timetable rather than face a vote of no confidence. Many lawmakers said it was now a question of when, not if, he has to go. On Wednesday night, the Attorney General for England and Wales, Suella Braverman, called on Johnson to resign and became the first cabinet minister to say they would run to replace him in any Conservative Party leadership contest. Dozens have publicly criticised Johnson's integrity after he was forced to apologise for appointing a lawmaker to a role involved in pastoral care and had not recalled being briefed that the minister had been the subject of complaints about sexual misconduct. It is the latest crisis to hit his administration after months of scandals and missteps. Earlier, Johnson told a parliamentary committee, "I am not going to step down, and the last thing this country needs, frankly, is an election." US Senator Lindsey Graham will not comply with a subpoena issued by a grand jury in Georgia investigating former US President Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election, attorneys for the lawmaker said on Wednesday. His lawyers said Graham was well within his rights to discuss with state officials the processes and procedures around administering elections. The grand jury also subpoenaed members of Trump's former legal team, including his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. The grand jury was selected in May to consider evidence in a probe launched after Trump was recorded in a January 2nd phone call pressuring Georgia's Secretary of State to overturn the state's election results based on false claims of voter fraud. Graham's attorneys said in the statement that the senator was being called as simply a witness in what they called a fishing expedition. Any information from an interview or deposition with Senator Graham would immediately be shared with the January 6 committee, they said. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis, who convened the grand jury probe, said in an interview on Wednesday more subpoenas for additional Trump associates should be expected, and declined to rule out a subpoena for Trump himself. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev said attempts by the West to punish a nuclear power such as Russia for the war in Ukraine risked endangering humanity as the near 5-month conflict leaves cities in ruins and thousands homeless. Russia's February 24 invasion of Ukraine has triggered the most serious crisis in relations between Russia and the West since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, when many people feared the world was on the brink of nuclear war. US President Joe Biden said Russian President Vladimir Putin is a war criminal and has led the West in arming Ukraine and imposing crippling sanctions on Russia. Russia and the US control about 90% of the world's nuclear warheads, with around 4,000 warheads each in their military stockpiles, according to the Federation of American Scientists. Medvedev cast the United States as an empire which has spilled blood across the world, citing the killing of Native Americans, US nuclear attacks on Japan, and a host of wars ranging from Vietnam to Afghanistan. Attempts to use courts or tribunals to investigate Russia's actions in Ukraine would, Medvedev said, be futile and risk global devastation. After failing to seize the capital of Kiev early, Russia is now raging a war of attrition for Ukraine's Donbass region, parts of which are controlled by Russian separatist proxies. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.